everyone, it's Miss Spencer. Today we'll be relating decimal and fraction multiplication. Here we have 8/10. We're going to rewrite this as a decimal. To do that, we're going to place the 8 in the tenths place in our place value chart, since the denominator is 10. So we can rewrite 8/10 as 0 and 8/10. Remember, the word and is used where we see the decimal point. Now we have 8/100. So we're going to place the 8 in the hundredths place since the denominator is 100. Since there's nothing in the tenths place, we can place a 0 there. So 8 over 100 is the same as 0 and 8/100. Now we have 8/1000. So we're going to place the 8 in the thousandths place since the denominator is 1000. Since there's nothing in the tenths or hundredths, we can place a 0. So we can rewrite 8 over 1000 as 0 and 8/1000. Now we have 18 over 10. So we're going to place the 8 in the tenths place since the denominator is 10 and the 1 is regrouped to the ones place. So 18/10 is the same as 1 and 8/10. Now we have 108 over 100. So the 8 is going to go in the hundredths place since that's the last digit in the number 108. The 0 is regrouped to the tenths place and the 1 is regrouped to the ones place. Notice we can still see the number 108 in our place value chart, just like it is in our numerator. So 108 over 100 is the same as 1 and 8/100. Now we have 18/1000. So the 8 is going to go in the thousandths place since that's the last digit in the number 18, and our denominator is 1000. The 1 is regrouped to the hundredths place. Since there's nothing in the tenths place, we can put a 0. So 18 over 1000 is the same as 0 and 18/1000. Now we have 0 and 3/10. We're going to place this in our place value chart. Since the 3 is in the tenths place, we can rewrite this as 3 over 10. Now we have 0 and 3/100. We'll place this in the place value chart. Since the 3 is in the hundredths, we can rewrite this as 3 over 100. And here we have 0 and 3/1000. So we'll place this in the place value chart. Notice the 3 is in the thousandths place, so we can rewrite this as 3 over 1000. Now we have 1 and 3/10. So we place the 1 in the ones place and the 3 in the tenths place. Since this number is greater than 1, we can write a mixed number. 1 and 3/10 can be rewritten as 1 as the whole number in front, since the 1 is in front of the decimal, and then 3 over 10, since the 3 is in the tenths place. Here we have 1 and 3/100. In the place value chart, we can see the 1 is a whole number in the ones place. So that's going to go in front of the fraction. And then we have 3/100 represented by 3 over 100. Now we have 13/1000. So we're going to place the 3 in the thousands, the hundredths, or the 1 is in the hundredths, and we have a 0 in the tenths. We can rewrite this as 13 over 1000 since the 3 is in the thousandths place. Now we're going to go ahead and multiply decimals and fractions in unit form to get our decimal product and multiplying the fractions to get the fraction product. Let's start with 0 and 2/10 of 4. So here we can rewrite these in unit form as 2/10 times, because of means times, 4 ones, since the 4 is in the ones place. 2 times 4 is 8, and tenths times ones is tenths. So our answer is 8/10, which we can write as 0 and 8/10. If we were to do this as multiplying fractions, we would write 0 and 2/10 as 2 over 10, because this represents 2/10, times 4 over 1, since the 4 is in the ones place. Now we can just multiply across. 2 times 4 is 8, and 10 times 1 is 10. So our answer is 8 over 10, or 8 tenths, just like we got our answer for the decimal product. Now we have 0 and 2 tenths times 0 and 4 tenths. So we can write this in unit form as 2 tenths times 4 tenths. 2 times 4 is 8, and tenths is hundredths. So our answer is 8 hundredths, which can be rewritten as 0 and 8 hundredths. We can also multiply these by changing each factor to a fraction. Here we have 2 tenths, which can be rewritten as 2 over 10, and then we have 4 tenths, which can be rewritten as 4 over 10. We can multiply across. 2 times 4 is 8, and 10 times 10 is 100. So 8 hundredths is the same as 0 and 8 hundredths. Here we have 0 and 2 tenths of 0 and 4 hundredths. So we can rewrite this in unit form as 2 tenths times 4 hundredths. 2 times 4 is 8. Tenths times hundredths is thousandths. So we have 8 thousandths, which we can rewrite as 0 and 8 thousandths. We can also rewrite both of these decimals as fractions. 0 and 2 tenths can be rewritten as 2 over 10, and 4 hundredths can be rewritten as 4 over 100. Then we just multiply across. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 times 100 is 1,000. So 8 thousandths is the same as 0 and 8 thousandths. Finally, we have 3 tenths times 4 tenths. Let's first write this in unit form. We have 3 tenths times 4 tenths. 3 times 4 is 12, and tenths times tenths is hundredths. So we have 12 hundredths, which we can write as 0 and 12 hundredths. Finally, we can rewrite both of these factors as fractions. 3 tenths can be rewritten as 3 over 10, and 4 tenths can be rewritten as 4 over 10. So 3 times 4 is 12, and 10 times 10 is 100. So our answer is 12 hundredths, which is the same as 0 and 12 hundredths.